Hey guys, good morning. Now it's 1 p.m. in Vietnam. So, in this video, I will try to parameterize this template resource. This is resource. I have the browse. So, my next objective here is before I do that is really create a private key. You guys all know that the Ansible node. You guys all know that Ansible node is the yeah, actually I need to drive it for you guys to understand it. So let's just me go to the drive first. I will pause video. No, not really. Yeah. Oh, you are very huge amount of diagram already, so we'll move to this one instead. So my Ansible now, if I run Ansible, there are two things I have to mention. First is me. I am the user who run the to run the Ansible script. So I have my own AS key. So I have some kind of key will be but I would say I just only have the key task cloud like that. So that is one private key, and in this cluster, I actually have more than that. This is my cluster, and this is Ansible. Private key will be okay. You know what I mean, right? That is what the idea of it. So Ansible node you can access to any other node. For example, you can access to worker node. Master and the try key of this guy will be the quick tab. Yeah, so this is the idea of it, that is basically it. I'm not sure what else I want to mention here, but you see that this guy definitely have no IS key. So this is on one-to-one relationship. So let me just create master 2 as well. Same thing. Master 3. Worker. You know what? Let me just write down worker nodes. Master nodes. etc node. Nodes. So basically, you can access to all four of these nodes. The idea is that by doing that this way, you basically you can yeah. So by what does this mean? I mean you can write a simple command and it's actually proxy to this node here. And here is actually skill playbook. So you know the idea of this one, right? It's very simple, like that. You are basically running all your Ansible node and script through another node. So let me just drag this guy up here so it's look a bit cleaner. Yeah, so let's just go here. Okay, so this is basically it. So the most important thing that I need to create another Ansible private key in the Ansible node and then propagate it to all the master, all the node in the cluster. This is just logical. Here's the server rack. This is a cabinet. Yeah, so this idea of it. So how we do it now? In the TFRS file, one of the things we always go with the TFRS file, right? I mean, here you have an Ansible node, and you actually want to create a private key or something like that in here, and you actually propagate it to all the nodes. So the idea here is that you want to create a private key, and then in another node, for example, an open source, you want to inject it. Add private key. True. No, I mean, yeah, you basically want to add a private key for all Ansible nodes. So just add it up here. For this guy, for example, I would say load balancers, for example. Let me just enable this guy for now, and I will disable all the node line. So this guy is in Apple, this guy will certainly in Lychee, for example. I just want to diversify because I always testing in Plum, so I want to change the node, just test it. So in this load balancer node, author key reference. So this author key reference I will actually map it to the Ansible here. So the idea is that this all the load balancer will actually reference the private key, the reference to the public key, authorize the public key to this Ansible node. So all this is done of this Ansible group. They will have one, they will share one private key, and they we can propagate the private key to this guy. So if you look at this one, I actually use local VMs, and it's really important because here I actually map it to flat it down to one list of array instead of nested array that is nested object that is one. So a flattened a list of one dimension array of object describe everything about the node is really important. But it's just not only that. I also need to collect all the address key here. So because it's in the I think it's in the group config layer. So I would rather create another loop just to collect all the private key that is need to be referenced. And when this guy wants to reference it, I need to, basically I just need to inject the private key to all his node. So yeah, I actually I don't need any locals. I will just look through all this group, and I get the private key out and check if it's true. Then I will just create it and put it into a locals. No, I don't need to put it anyway. So let's do it now. So my very first step is obviously is to look through all the private key. So let me create another reference, another folder file here. So in this private key, I will basically not YAM, sorry, it's TF. So in this one, I will just look through the TF the variable here. Let me add another update the variable first. I update it anyways. So in principle, is in outside the object here. You need some kind of private key. Okay, here's another thing I'm really curious about, whether we are able to so it should be a list, right? So it should be a list string. So here's something more. So the real question here is that how can I inject the Ansible script using a private key? So we have SSH authorized key and then we can add some kind of private key here. I'm not sure if this is even working, but we can give a shot on it. And we what I really care about is address key, right? So we have the address private, public, they are all in same folder, I think. So I think we just follow this the carb guideline here. I hope this work. So I will just RSA private and public, right? So let me just go back here, and we just need to follow through this one first before we do anything else. So let's go to look through each virtual machine, and then the key it will be the group name. So we don't necessarily adding that here, but rather I need to know whether the upper key is true. So I need to create another map here. For group name config in the group name will become, if it's true, right? If it's true, For example, like if the config arbitrary is true, then yes, then we just add it. None. It's otherwise not. So let's I think that's pretty much it. Let me just, this is not being returned anyway, so that's good. So I need another file code to store this one. So I call it user data. You know, the idea is just move it away so we don't make it too complicated. And to if you logical order, you render the file and then you upload it here. You know, I'm doing multiple chains at the moment. I want to make this a bit more dynamic. So for example, I want the data to become Proxmox key, you know. But you know what? I will go back to this later. I'm trying to make this one shorter. So let's just apply this for now, and we will see though. We will see. Okay, so there's one thing I need to fix, which is this previously it was failing because I tried to target the wrong node, which doesn't have the user data. Okay, so what I will do now, just to make things less complicated, I will just exit this one and run this again. Okay, so good enough. I make the wrong variable type here. So just give it a few seconds. So it's definitely failing. Yeah, I need to make it optional as well, so we don't want, you know. There's another way to prevent this, but no, I actually want to have this one. You can create a module out of this one. A module could have to wrap all this one, but I don't know in the future if I actually need that, because creating a module only for large project where you have a lot of more resources to create it, and you have to group them together. But in this case, I don't feel the necessity of doing that. But in the future, if I actually want to add more in the Proxmox terraform, then I definitely want to do that. So yeah, I think this one is a mistake. Let me just update this again. So inside the cloud init, I think no, not cloud init, in the private key, you have to check it null or not. Or you can just use lookup. Is my most common way to which is work by setting the default value. Condition must be okay. I should check if it's null. mistake all the time. So besides having this private, let me just check already on the terraform resource for a second to see if it's actually. So we have a private key, and yeah, it has public key as well, so that's good enough. So the way I reframe it is obviously to for this for this guy to actually take advantage of it. You know what? I forgot to comment this out. Just comment this out. This shit, man. Okay. Nevertheless, so when I actually creating return to this one, return to this ansible, how do I need to map this into some kind of public key, you know. So another local is required. This local is actually mapping from this private from this private key into you know, yeah, it has to be making sense, but I don't think I need to do it now. A local could be helpful to store the public and private key, but it's a bit sensitive to do that, so I rather not. But rather in the template itself, in the template itself I would add some kind of SS key here, as you can see. So the abstract key is one part, so I actually need to add the SS key in this guy, in this cloud init guys here. No, it's in user data actually. Let me go to user data here. Am I hard coding this at the moment or not? I feel like I'm actually hard coding it. Just check for the user data script. Yes, I am actually hard coding it. But no, it should be in the template, right? So user data key is in the user key, and user key is actually in local user data. Okay, so I actually need to look at the locals. So here I actually have coding it. Yeah, so the idea here, you have to not only you have to group all the, yeah, so you have the host name, so you have to map this again into a format that is understandable. So what I do now is I copycat the whole things. In this one I only care about the user data. Yeah, actually, you know what? I also need to reference the SS key. So the takeaway here is, you know, I'm not going to follow through this one, but I still need to do it because it has the host name, and it's actually define how many it is a company user data, right? And in each group it will be different. Okay, it's getting complicated, guys. It's getting complicated. So let me just state list this out for a second. We do a step by step. I have a lot of thoughts in my head right at the moment, but we have to do it step by step. So we have the private key here, I think. No, this is the data. So here is actually the one I'm talking about. So we have the, okay, we have the local as well. This is not something I expected. So we expect only how do I filter out the null value? So the idea here is that if it's null, then I don't need to add it here. So how can I do that? Okay, I do exactly like this guy do. So I would just add group if this one is different group. Okay, so there's a different expression to this one. Let me just try to apply it again. Yeah, so I need to restructure my TFRs. I'm trying to make it less complicated. Okay, close enough. So what I will do now is, you know what, I will straight away convert this garnet into a templating. So same things I do. I always need to go with the upload first because it's contain user data, right? So every virtual machine, it will have its own user data for sure. So that's exactly what I will do now for half. So inside of my variable, I will actually need to define uncommon VM config. So we have node, typical node. So we have plan, okay, and plan view. What to have it? Why do I have? I need this. Oh, I need the hierarchy. I think it's that. So in the locals, you already know that this one is being shared for everyone. So to access this hierarchy, I just need to add this one here in my TFRs here. So you have to think that there always can be more than just one key. So, and I think it's look a bit cleaner than keep it in one line. So that's the first thing. And you know what? I actually want to read it from a file rather than just copy it like this one. So I will just use something called file like this one. So yeah, so I will just view file. It's actually will tell you guys where my public key in my local servers, but it's okay. I don't hesitate to publish it out. So it will be in home qt yesterday cloud path. With this my share authorized key. Yeah, this is my share authorized key. I can actually regenerate one, and then it's fine. Just keep it there. So the physical node will be like that. That's the most important thing. And then in the local here is where you actually pass it to the data, right? So the idea is that you have to, and you also need to point out where is your private key. So because this one is sensitive things to have, so okay, do 1 second. I need to. Okay, so there's I think there's a main thought about this one. I actually use this local sensitive file, and I'm not sure if I can actually have a method for that. But nevertheless, I need the path for this node. So it's not necessarily to be different from one another. I have my private key here that I can use to SSH to it and to actually do upload it myself. So in my TFR as well, you know what? So my share authorized key here. I'm not sure why this private key being used. I'm actually really curious about that. Yeah, that's strange. I'm not sure if I ever use this one. I just don't feel necessary. Okay, so the next thing is actually the private key, right? The SS private key. Okay, so I have the private key of Proxmox. I have the private key of VMs that I want to inject to all the nodes. Yeah, so if we simplify to this one, so the idea is that when I go through the config, then I can just render it out to upload it. And for the host, I think this one is important here. You actually want to upload private key. You have the private key, right? And then you have the content for the private key. So this is where you want to define the file name. So just go in the bar. Let me just copy from here. Config. What have I need this letter S here? It's just waste. Or just config. That's good enough. And you point to the Proxmox right key. I think this one is a bit more easy to read. I only have one share key to all the so the only thing left is the host name. So you want to create a map of physical node. So we have Plum with the host name of Proxmox 1, Lychee, I write this choose this name for my physical node is I really want it's very simple and easy to remember, and it actually has some meaning. It's actually my the team, my project teams in MPT that I work with, and I think that's a good thing because it's a good memory anyways. When I leave the group, the team is a bittersweet moment, but you know, people really hate me anyways for many reasons, but yeah, so they just don't like me, so they just try to avoid me. So I'm not trying to become their friend anyways, so I'm not trying to blame anyone. It's just me there alone on the battlefield, and you know, try to get my things done. It's a bit sweet moment when I look at the name. I have both good and bad memory, but in the end it's not so good memory. I work with a team and I just realized that the team is not really fit with me, or simply I'm not really fit with the team. I really have a very high expectation of the working role. I really want the team to push everything forward much harder than I would like to be, much harder than it should be. So for the moment I work with the team, they actually kind of lazy, and yeah, literally they don't really invest time to the project. And you know what? I actually get pressure from the client as well. You don't know that, but I do get pressure, and that just sucks. Okay, let's go back to this one for a second. So does this one has the user data for each node? Let's just look at the template bar for a second. So so we have to, hey, come on guys. So in the user data, you can see here, we get a host name. That's the first thing coming out, and the second thing you care about is actually the password and the SSH key. Other than that, you don't need anything else. So the SSH key is the most important thing, and then the password, and then I think the host name and SSH key. That's all we need. So coming back here, I will actually need to create a map of local users here. So the user data here, I will need to create a map of it. So I will still need to group a local virtual machine here. So I can just use this one because it has a name of the virtual machine, which is really important. Okay, sorry for host name. And then inside this one, you actually have a name, and then here we have host name. In this host name, you actually pointing out there's a name for it, the password and the S key. Here is the most important part, I would say. So in the SS key is where we talking about the previous DFR we do, right? We have the common, we have the share VM public key. That's the first thing we need to add here. So I just pointing to it for now. Yeah, so this one will be replaced with config and then VM public key. So we basically a public key file. And the second thing is that you want to generate random password for every node. I'm not sure if that is necessary. It would be difficult for me to really access key to every node and retype everything based on the node it has, and I really don't want to do that. So there's not alternative ways by setting up an AAD server, but it just I don't want to create another authentication mechanism that I don't need to remember the password. It would be nice to do that, but if I would say it's very nice if I have some kind of mechanism by it authorize my PC automatically when I join the network, and I can access to those servers, and they can just check if my machine is authorized to access this virtual machine. It's a very good idea. It's a very good idea, I would say. I think there's some kind of no, you know what? Just forget about that. But I just will for it. You know what? Address key, so there you go. Anyways, So the next address key, you already guessed it. It must coming from the reference here. So this is important. So when you see this authorized key reference here, you actually think that so this guy it doesn't contain that kind of information. So yeah, so you actually need to put it here somehow, you know. So the similar thing with this guy is actually, yeah, I will just add another. It should be in being group. So this one you actually have the ability to refer to this authorized key reference from the virtual machine. So we can just get the logo virtual machine and the name now, and you can actually have access to the authorized key reference. So what I will do here, I will just concat it because it will be an array. So if this one is available, the word I look up for this one, and yeah, just look up for this one in here instead, and it is actually become an array. So I don't need to check for it at the moment. I just need to follow through it. So for key ref, I actually mapping it to my private key here. So with the key ref here. I try to, the long code is okay as long as it's easier to understand when the second time looking for after a long time. So I will just write this a bit long. So that's pretty much it. We combine our common key, right, and with the big array, which is the list of this key. I think that's good enough. So my next thing is actually execute it to and check for the advanced file to see if it's actually working. Okay, just wait for a second. Okay, so there's a lot of error here. I know why, because I haven't updated my variable here. So let's just update to align it with the config here. Suppose this one, and then I need to change it a bit. For example, like the key, the VM key, the SS users. I'm not sure about this one. I will definitely remove it anyways, because I just realized that I don't use it anywhere. Okay, I do use this in this one, but it will be duplicated anyways, so I might want to remove it. Except for this one, yeah, this one I will keep. I will look back to this later when I do a mapping for the template. So yeah, so probably remove the SS user. We have the typical node, which is a map object, and the object has a host name. It will be a string. Yeah, so default value for this guy will be yeah. Let's just run plan again, run the pickup as well. I want to look really ugly at the moment. I don't have the private key. Okay, that's strange. So iteration to a non-value, which is let me check in local here. So what is the non-value here? Do we this is true? Is okay, you know what, let me just comment this out for a second. So it's my user data part, which I don't really want to add it here. Just run the plan. I really want to check the check the data structure of this guy. Okay, remove this one as well. So yeah, I have planned it. So now I do some kind of state list. Why the hell I do this? I will just do console TFRs. So I want to check for the local file here, which is the virtual machine. Okay, let's just press it again. So we have Ansible. Oh, fuck. So this one authority key is let me just get the Ansible out. What the hell is tool list? Huh, okay, wait a second. So I look this up. So it's supposed to be in the VM group because we give the list of string, and if it's empty, it should be an empty list, right? Why the hell is this here? What the hell is this here? You know what? Let me just change it a bit. Let me just directly importing it here. People say bad thing about VM group. I mean, how the hell why Vietnam miss some Vietnamese, they speak Vietnamese language, They live in Vietnam, and they just said so many bad things about their country. What the hell is they have to do that? I mean, it's just not making sense to me. It's just not making sense to me at all. You know, it's just like not making sense. And I really hate to see that kind of people being around. You know, just talking bad about our country. Yeah, I definitely don't want to see that. They should really be ashamed of themselves, you know, because they are so fucking negative. What does this mean? You know, some people, you know, if if I in a term, if I staying in their part, I would tell that okay, this guy, all he do is just look searching on Google, and okay, so what? So what? As long as I have, as long as I able to read English and I'm able to get my things done, then why not? Right? We have to obtain information from somewhere. So what is your alternative option? Do you go through textbook? I go to textbook too, but my textbook is here in this website. I just don't jump randomly here, but if you are working as my job, you will do the same thing, no doubt. And the only thing different from us is the speed. So really, I hate people who being negative all the time and talking bad things about the country. Yeah, even in the United States, I never talk bad about the United States. Yeah, it's a great country. I do see some homeless people over there and some fat people over there, which is negative to in my eye. But keep it in your own way. So you don't have to speak it out. What do we, how if we speak it out? What will make a change in this world? Right? It just doesn't make sense. So we have this one here, but it's just not. It's just not. Okay, I don't know why, but it seems not working for this case. I'm unable to refund it. So let me just then again. Oh, it's a dynamic one, so yeah, it's a dynamic one. Yeah, that's fine. I think I will end the video here. We will debug this in the next video, I think.